ஹலோ. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு லைவ் இன் யோர் லிவிங் ரூம் சீரீஸில் நம்ம கூட இந்த எபிசோடில் ஆக்ட்ரஸ் பூஜா குமார் அவங்க தான் வந்து ஜாயின் பண்ண போகிறாங்க. ஸோ உங்களுடைய கேள்விகள் ஏதாவது இருந்ததுன்னா நீங்கள் வந்து கீழே கமெண்ட் செக்ஷனில் கமெண்ட் பண்ணலாம். அவங்க வந்து அதுக்காக ரிப்ளை பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ எஸ், ஹாய் ஹாய். போன கனெக்ஷனில் ஒரு சின்ன இஷ்யூ இருந்ததுனால திரும்பவும் ரீகனெக்ட் பண்ண வேண்டியதாகிடுச்சு. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு யார் இணைய போகிறா அப்படிங்கிறது இன்னொரு வாட்டி நான் சொல்லிடுறேன். இன்னைக்கு லைவ் இன் யோர் லிவிங் ரூம் சீரீஸில் இந்த எபிசோட நம்ம கூட ஆக்ட்ரஸ் பூஜா குமார், விஸ்வரூபம், முத்தம வில்லன், இப்படி பல படங்களில் நடித்த பூஜா குமார் அவங்க தான் இணைய போகிறாங்க. ஸோ உங்களுடைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் எல்லாம் நீங்கள் கமெண்ட் செக்ஷனில் கமெண்ட் பண்ணலாம். அது வந்து அவங்க படித்து அதுக்கான பதில் அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ என்னோட ஆடியோ வீடியோ எல்லாமே கரெக்டாக இருக்கா? கரெக்டாக இருக்குன்னா கீழே சொல்லிவிடுங்க, இல்லைன்னா ரெக்டிஃபை பண்ணிடலாம். எஸ். ஹாய். ஹலோ.
ஹலோ, வணக்கம்.
ஹாய், வணக்கம். எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கேன். எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
சூப்பரா இருக்கேன். So how are you dealing with the lockdown? எப்படி போயிட்டு இருக்கு லாக்டவுன்லாம்?
Oh my God, it's like a crazy time, right? Like I can't believe that all of us, we better like our families. That's all I have to say. And if you don't like your family, then too bad. You just have to live with it. But it's, it really is a trying time for all of us. Like it's really important that we get to realize so many things about our life and how much we're thankful for and all of the great things that we have and the great things that we can do actually. So it's actually, I think the universe is telling us to just chill out and relax and reevaluate how we want to live our life.
Right. So any new skills that you have picked up during this lockdown?
Any what?
Any new skills that you have picked up?
The only skill that I have picked up is that I'm cooking a lot more. I think everyone is cooking. I think everyone is learning all kinds of new recipes, quick recipes, because this is like the first time that you're at home all the time. So what can you do to make it interesting? And that too, like, your own cooking gets boring after a long time. So you have to like start doing innovative things. It's not the same as before. So yeah, that's a new skill, and I'm doing a lot of reading, and I've also started writing. So that's good. So I feel
do you
like
enjoy?
I'm getting better. Huh?
Yeah, you enjoy reading, is it?
I do enjoy reading. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Can you recommend a few books for us?
Yes. So one book I'm reading is called Collateral, and that's about like how Hollywood started, and how Germany came into the Hollywood scene and how their movies affected and how all these filmmakers like learned from the German filmmakers. So it's really interesting how they started out and how the Jewish community actually blossomed. And I was just looking at like how they came together as one and just started making movies, and it wasn't about where you're from and who you are. They just wanted to tell like truthful stories. So that's very interesting. Another one is called Boys from Brazil. It's like a 20-year-old book, but it's excellent. There's another one called The Golden Gate by Vikram Seth. That's also, it's a little older, but it's a book of poems. And he's written a story in like prose fashion. And after a long time, I read a story where I was like, wow, like he's doing it all in poetry. You have to keep reading it, but it's so interesting. And I said, man, our Indian guys are so talented.
Okay. Is there a film script that you enjoyed as much as reading a good book?
But no, screenplays are something which I would love to read anytime. So that supersedes any kind of novel. Of course, novels are good, but screenplays, just because I've been acting for so long and reading plays and talking about acting and artists. So screenplay supersedes everything.
Oh, okay. Let's talk films now.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah, your
watching a lot.
films. Sorry.
I've been watching a lot of films, but you want to talk about my movies?
Yeah, your movies as well. But before that, any favorite films that you watched in recent times? Any interesting
Okay.
stuff?
So the one that I recommend that everyone must see, it's called Chernobyl.
Okay.
It's about the gas leak that happened in Russia and how they covered it up, and we had no idea that it was a massive gas leak. And even till this day, you cannot go to that area, and they say for the next 1,000 years you cannot go within like 100-mile radius in that area. um, and how the government covered up all the people who died. The government covered up secret information, which actually made those receptors explode. So it's really interesting, and the acting is fantastic. But more importantly, it's like we just have to be aware of our surroundings, especially during this kind of a pandemic. We have to help ourselves. We can't totally rely on the government. We have to be very socially aware citizens. So that's what I want everyone to see this, because it's like that affects everyone, and so does this pandemic is affecting everyone. So it's really important that we help each other and that we're very cognizant of what's happening.
Right. So after the advent of OTT and particularly at this time when people are consuming a lot of content on OTT, do you think their taste of films might change after the lockdown?
I think so. I think people are wanting interesting content, which they wanted before anyway. But I think the awareness of world cinema is astronomical now. Like people are just so engaged in what other countries are talking about, how other people are telling their stories. We just didn't have that exposure before. So thank God for digital media. I'm able to talk to you. I mean, it's fantastic, and talk to anyone, and you can be anywhere. I mean, that's what's so great about it is you are disconnected from everyone, but yet you still feel connected. So the content is going to be key. I think and Indian stories are fantastic. I mean, we just have so much history and so much to talk about. So there, I think our filmmakers are going to have a tough time because we just have so much that we can tell. So what story do you tell? What do you choose? So yeah.
Yes, true. Talking about your films, after your initial Tamil film, you've done a few Hollywood films also, but Vishwarupam was kind of a comeback for you, right?
Yeah.
So, can you tell us what you learned from the Vishwarupam experience?
So that, I mean, it all happened. It was like, I always say this, it's like destiny. You work towards your goal and you love what you do, and you'll eventually hit that one, mark. I feel like I'm very lucky that I was able to get to be part of that franchise. And the biggest learning experience I had was that, you keep working, and you keep on working, and you keep on getting better at your skills. And, um, and you really find your own voice. And when you find your own voice and when you're authentic in your voice, people are going to want to be engaged, and people are going to want to see you because you're truthful and you're honest. And the reality is that we are in the movie business because we're trying to be truthful in sort of extraordinary circumstances, right? So for me, the biggest learning experience was that you just keep on working, and that, like, for any woman, I think, you never know when you're going to get that opportunity and when it's going to come knocking on the door. And when it comes knocking on the door, are you going to be ready? Are you going to be able to come on time on set? Are you going to have your lines memorized? Are you going to be having, done your research on your role? Because all of these things, I think, are going to matter in a very big way.
Right.
So,
And some people might think that your first film with Kamal sir is Vishwarupam, but it isn't.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Don't date me. Don't date me, please.
Can you
um,
describe? Yeah.
yeah.
Can you
Go ahead.
describe your experience working in APJ के लिए, watching Kamal sir perform?
In what? And sorry?
The film, the Hindi film that you worked first with Kamal sir, एक तुझे के लिए, isn't right?
No, I never worked on it. That was my first Hindi film that I watched.
Okay, okay. That's the first film that you watched. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
When I saw that film. That was the first Hindi film that I watched because I was born and brought up in the US, right? So my parents sort of introduced me to Hindi cinema while they immigrated here in 1970. So they sort of introduced me to Indian cinema, which I wasn't exposed to before. And that was the first Hindi film I saw. And I was so impressed with the film because that was the first time I had seen sort of a man dance so well and still look like a man. It's so tough as male dancers, because you have to have the bows and like, the sort of the feministic sort of side of it. But it was the first time I saw an actor where I was like, oh my God, he did Bharatanatyam and still looked manly enough to do it. So I was so sort of in awe of that of Sir, and of course the story was fantastic and great, and the acting was great too.
Okay. And coming to Uttama Villain, the
Yes.
most challenging part, I think, would be the dialogues for you. Not knowing the language, but the dialogues were so deep, so strong. How did you manage to do it?
Oh man, can I just tell you, it was very stressful. Very, very stressful for me. Because I was playing four different characters. I was going from the modern day actress, then I was going to the 18th century princess, then I was going to this princess who turned kind of crazy. And it was, and then also I'm speaking sort of this old, sort of 14th, 15th, 16th century Tamil. So it was tough because the dialogues were really long. And and we all know Kamal sir's dialogue writing is fantastic. And he doesn't shorten it for you. Like, he will not say, hey, you don't know the language, or he's like, tough, you still have to do it, and that's just how it is. And I think that's, his authenticity towards characters and making them sort of memorable is what's so great about him, right? Is because he makes these memorable characters because he applies it to that time. He's like, that character is in this time. What would he wear? How does he act? How does all of those things? So for me, Uttamavan was, it was like a role of a lifetime because you get to play all these, different, and I got to play four different roles in one movie. And then even with the Kathakali, doing the makeup and sitting in makeup and doing all of that, you don't get an opportunity to do that. So it was tough. It was very tough in the beginning. And then luckily, Ramesh Arvind, sir, was the director. And so with him and sir sort of guiding me, it became, sort of easier.
Right.
But
in an interview during Vishwarupam, you had mentioned that you were nervous working with Kamal sir. But during Uttama Villain, was it the same case? Were you nervous or you got used to it?
So, when you work with a legend, you're always nervous because you're hired to do a job. And if you don't do a good job, you're going to get fired. So you better do a good job. And so that, that nervousness for me is always on every set because I'm always sort of like a little nervous and excited. So it's like these mixed emotions that are happening because you're doing a new project and you're working with new people. With Sir, he has this sort of, you're on his set and you have to perform and you have to be diligent and you have to be doing your work. So it never gets easier, that's for sure. So you have to keep on working. There's no question. And I think even if you've seen any of his films, he keeps on working and he keeps on getting, better at his job. And because he takes it very seriously. He's like, look, our audience members are taking the time to come see the movie and engage. So we have to do our job, to engage them. So no, it doesn't get easier.
Any memorable compliment that you received from him for your performance on set?
Any compliment? No, you don't get any compliments on set ever.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Because you only get you don't even get any compliments. Actually, it's only the end result that people will come, and see. So there's no complimenting because the job isn't done then. The thing is that you still have the editing, and then you've got color correction, then you've got the sound mixing. So it can totally change. And then you've got the dubbing. So thank God I have, an amazing dubbing artist, Abhirami. And so she has done a fantastic job for dubbing for me. So it sounds pretty authentic, I think. So yes.
And I have to definitely ask this. You got the opportunity to watch Heron in a theater. How was
Which
the
one?
experience? Heron.
Yes. Oh. I think Hiram is by far one of the best films that has come out of Indian cinema. And watching it again, I saw some of the scenes, and I was reminded that when you've got 4 or 5 actors in one scene, how you choreograph the scene and make it interesting. Like that whole sequence between Shah Rukh Khan and Sir and oh gosh, I can't remember the other name, but there's 4 of them at the club in the beginning of the movie, and so they're all
Yes.
at that telephone. And I think it's the most funniest scene where he's calling his girlfriend Aparna, and they're all at the telephone. So how do you choreograph that scene in one telephone with 4 people to show them on screen and engaging? It's really difficult to choreograph those scenes, and I was just reminded of how that you can do that. And he's got this great ability to do it, to make it funny. It's not easy to do it. So that was very engaging to me. And of course, the subject in itself, it's so relevant even till today. You can watch it today and still say like, wow, like the sets, those 19 and like the 20th century cars that he had in there, and then the sets, and then he wasn't actually in Calcutta, and he shot everything in Chennai. So it's still one of those films which I think everyone can still see and will still see in like 20 years.
Would you love to do a film like that, set in the ancient times? Would you love to do it as an actor?
Oh my gosh, yes, I would love to do a period piece. I mean, Uttama Villain was like a period piece, right? So that was like it's sort of a different kind of period piece. But yes, I would love to do one of those period pieces where we talk about, the queens and how the women were living at that time, and how our interpretation of how they live today, I think would be very interesting. I don't know how it would be for the audience, but yes.
Definitely. It would be interesting.
Yes.
We saw a picture in your Instagram profile where you're with these 2 legends, Kamal sir and Rahman sir. I think it was for a composition for Talaivan Irukkiran. How was the experience?
You just sit there and you're listening to these 2 people create, and you are basically in awe of how they are just so compatible, and how they can just kind of like immediately get together, and then they're just like putting out these tunes. I mean, Rahman sir, of course, you just love his music because it's just so natural at it. I mean, he just gets on the piano and boom, it's like, how did you even come up with this? Those things can't be taught. What they can be is that you can go to school and you can learn and hone down these skills, but some things are just inherent, like singing. Like if you have a good voice, you have a good voice. If you don't have a good voice, you can sing to your heart out. You're still not going to be good at it, right? But like even with like dancing, there has to be some little inherent, but you can still learn, to be good. You can do certain things to do it. With these 2, it was just, I mean, they're creating memories, and they're creating songs that we're going to be hearing, and our kids are going to be hearing, our grandkids are going to be hearing it. So it's just, it was really sort of a memorable experience for me to just be there. And I've been so lucky to be around such people like that. So it's great.
Right. And you're one of the very few people from the film industry who have attended Kamal sir's family functions. We see a lot of pictures coming out. So what kind of relationship do you share with him?
So Sir, I've just known Sir and his family just because of all the films that I've done, and going back and forth and doing films. So it's been a great like sort of, it's been great for me to be interacting with him as an artist and as a director. So I've just known them for like so long. So I've been lucky to like know I know An-Nasser who, passed away, his brother, who was one of the producers. So I just know their family pretty well just because we've worked, together for so long.
Okay. Now that Kamal sir has entered politics, what kind of a leader do you think he would be in the political ground?
So see his dedication towards filmmaking. He's always, given his best. I think it'll be the same as far as in politics too. I think he loves people, right? And so he just wants to do so much for other people and wants to do the greater good for even Tamil Nadu, and he continues to do so. So I hope he does really well, and I hope people realize that he does want to do, good for Tamil Nadu. So yeah, it should be good.
Great. So before coming to the conversation, let's go to the comment section. People are wanting to talk to you. Just say hi and we'll come back.
Okay, hi. How do I? Oh, okay, there we go. This is like the first time I'm doing it, so I'm having, just bear with me. Okay.
Pooja, Tamil. That's what Kasturi is asking. Can you tell a dialogue at least from your movie? Do you remember?
Oh gosh. No, I'm not going to do that because then I'm going to ruin the dialogue and then it'll be very bad. I'll do it next time.
Okay, done.
Okay.
Or you can repeat what I say for them in Tamil.
Okay, I'll repeat. Oh, someone wants me to sing. Oh.
Sorry?
No, someone wants me to sing a song, and we're not going to do that. That'll be very bad for everyone.
So, இந்த live interviewக்கு வந்த எல்லாருக்கும் நன்றி.
இந்த
live interviewக்கு வந்த எல்லாருக்கும்
நன்றி.
நன்றி. Yes.
நன்றி.
So Richard Prabhakar is asking, are you in the US?
I am in the US right now, yes. So we're not allowed to travel internationally. So I was here for work, and then the whole lockdown started, and so we had to just stay and stay put. Now, even when they're opening it up slowly, it's still not that safe to travel. We still have to be careful because there's going to be phases, right? That they open up, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So I know people are rushing to go out and rushing to, get their work done, but we still have to still slowly be careful because we don't have a vaccine. We don't have a cure. Yeah. And now, they're saying it's not just spreading by surfaces, it's spreading through people. So yes. We have to be really diligent and really be careful. If we have to go out, we have to go out. I mean, we can't stop people, but, I really request everyone to just stay home as long as you can.
But are things getting better there? A little bit?
A little bit. Look, right now, I hate to say it, but we have 98,000 people who've died in just 2 months. Since March 7th, it's only May. So that's April, May, which is 2 months. That means 50,000, almost 50,000 people are dying per month. It's tough. This is a virus that we don't know about. This is a virus that they're still doing research on. But what will happen, like any sort of pandemic, which they've said in history, is that it'll slowly kind of go out. I mean, it'll slowly, kind of fizzle out. But we're not there yet. I mean, this is something that's brand new to people. This is something brand new that we don't even know about. So we have to be very careful, at this point. And it spreads through people. So we have to be wearing the mask all the time. I did a video about how to make your own mask. I'm going to do another video pretty soon, actually, on how to make another one at home. So that, because when you wear the mask, you're stopping yourself from spreading it. So that you're not going to spread it and give it to someone else. It's not about you getting it. It's about you not spreading it.
True. There are a lot of compliments pouring in for you. Sumesh Ravan, how do you maintain this beauty still at this age?
Look, I drink a lot of water and I'm pretty healthy. I do a lot of Pilates, I do a lot of yoga. And the main thing is that, you know, I love what I do. And I think you have to be happy with where you are and who you are. And that just shows up, I think, on your face. And I'm lucky. You know, I get to do what I love and actually make a living. So it's a good thing.
Mhm. Azaruddin Mohammed Razul, which is your favorite destination in Tamil Nadu?
My favorite designation in Tamil Nadu. Wow, that's a tough one. I really like Chennai. I
Uh-huh.
really love the city. I'm a city person.
Uh-huh.
I'm not like I come from a small town in the U.S., but I like the city life. So I would have to say Chennai is the best city.
Okay.
Is there someone keeps asking what is my mother tongue? What does mother
Uh-huh.
tongue mean?
Mother tongue? I mean, they're asking about your first language.
Oh, okay. So, well, first language is English, but my mom and dad are both from UP, Uttar Pradesh. So we basically speak Hindi and Urdu.
Okay. Pooja, we love to see you act in Malayalam with our own Laletan and Mamuka, fan from Kerala, Sumesh Shravan.
Wow. Okay, let's tell all the Malayalam filmmakers to hire me. I would love to do a film
Okay.
because
And that
Kerala is
was,
also very pretty.
yeah. And there were speculations that you're going to be part of Talevan Irikkiran. Is that true?
No, I'm not part of it. No,
Okay.
no, not as of yet. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Uh-huh. Uh, Julian Raghavaya, are you missing Chennai?
I am. What I'm missing right now actually is you know, the work front. All of us are at home, so it's like difficult. That whole social interaction, you know, that we're so used to, is not there. You know, as artists, we love to be around people, and we love like people surrounding us, and we love to be social. And I think human beings anyway are generally, you know, social. So yes, I do miss being in Gen A and shooting and you know, being able to get back to normal life.
Karthik, great performance and authenticity in Vishwarupam.
Oh, thank you, Karthik.
How was that film like? Because it had two different parts. This sequel had a different version of you, so you had
Yeah.
to transform, right? So, what was the preparation like? What was the input that Kamal sir gave you? Can you tell us about that?
So, you know, in part one, I played this sort of a typical damsel in distress. You know, she's unaware of her surroundings. She thinks she knows it all, and then she really doesn't. And then she's sort of pleasantly surprised that her husband is this like superhero, and she just can't believe that. And so everything is sort of uncovering like, how have I been so dumb or naive about everything that's been going on? So luckily, we kind of shot, you know, the movies in sequential order. So it wasn't like we did part two first and then we shot part one, you know, because when you're shooting a movie, you actually shoot according to the location. So in that sense, it was a lot easier for me because then I was kind of going on this journey of like, okay, discovering, and then the second part was like, okay, now let's figure out, now that I know everything, who am I really? I mean, am I this woman who just kind of used this man? You know, it was kind of, and then so Nirupama in her second half was just kind of like realized, oh my gosh, I've just been so selfish, and I haven't even been thinking about my husband and what he did. So actually, both the characters, I would say, Wazam and Nirupama in this, like, you know, Kamal sort of written in the beginning of the dialogue, it's a matter of convenience, you know, and I think both of them were kind of using each other to get what they want. And then in the second half is when they actually realized, oh, wait, maybe we do belong together. Maybe we can be a good team. And so it was easy in the sense of because we shot it in sequential order, so it wasn't that difficult. But look, when you have a great director, it just makes everything a lot more sort of easier. And since all of us had been together shooting part one, we kind of knew each other. We knew already our nuances, so it was just quick to shoot, just because we knew how to sort of engage with each other.
Right. So talking about difficulty on spot, what was your Hollywood film experience like? Because your first language is English, and
Yes.
your potential as an actor becomes even stronger when you are comfortable with the language. So
Yes.
what was that experience like?
I wish I knew the language much better. There's no question. It helps. But I think also language is one of those things where it shouldn't stop you from emoting. Because at the end of the day, it's actually about the emotions and what the scene and what the character is feeling. Why do we watch characters on screen? We're not watching them basically to hear what they say. We're watching them because we want to experience that emotion that they're experiencing. And so if you can convey that, without words, great. That's why if you see most of the movies, the silent movies, we love still watching silent movies. There were no dialogues when originally cinema started, right? So if you can convey those emotions and people still resonate with you, then you've done your job. And yeah, no, I would love to learn more Tamil. It's a very difficult language, actually. It's not easy, but yes, one day I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I saw a comment here saying that they can't believe that you didn't know Tamil because it was so authentic. Your dialogues in the film.
Yeah,
Someone had
I
commented
did a lot of
here.
homework. Huh?
Someone had commented that. I just
Yeah.
recorded.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I did a lot of homework and I worked really hard so that it sounded authentic. Because the thing is that I think in English and I'm emoting in English, but like Tamil is coming out. So you have to have the correct nuances and the timing, even for the dubbing artist, so that it doesn't look inauthentic. So I thank God, the assistant director and the whole team of Vishrukum was so supportive, and they would give me things ahead of time, so that I could just sort of mug it up and get into the sort of nitty gritty of it.
Right. And talking about the social media thing, Instagram actually helps you connect with your fans.
Yes.
It helps you interact with a lot of people. There are a lot of good things in the social media platform, but still, people receive a lot of criticisms. People receive a lot of negativity. But how do you, as a person, handle it?
Look, I think I'm so glad for social media. I mean, we're able to connect with people, and then also we're able to convey messages very quickly. I mean, we know about what's happening in the rest of the world because of social media now. And I think, and I'm happy that we have social media. And I think as artists and people who have some say in the world, we have a responsibility. One is a responsibility to our people, and two, also a responsibility to talk about what's happening in the world and inspire and encourage people. I didn't come from the film industry. My dad's an engineer and my mom was an artist, but she was a homemaker and a businesswoman, but we didn't come from a film family. And I feel like I can inspire and help other women, so it's like a responsibility that we have. I'm on social media, but I'm not so much on it. And I think I need to be probably a little bit more engaging. I mean, I would love to be more. I sometimes feel like, well, am I really that interesting to people? Do they really want to listen to what I have to say? But then I see people who are resonating or sort of can identify with my story or not, or like the characters that I play. And so, then I feel like, okay, well, good. Then at least I'm helping some people or inspire and encourage. So thank God for social media. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to talk to you. It's in the morning in the US and it's at nighttime in India. So I'm still waking up, by the way.
Yeah, true. So during this lockdown, using this platform, you could convey something to the viewers. Anything about the lockdown, about the current situation, how to handle it, something about it.
So, you know, again, I've said it over and over before, but I know maybe I'm repeating myself, but I really want people to sort of take this time, you know, to realize their own potential, and also that we have a responsibility. We cannot rely totally on the government. As you can see, they're not doing everything that they should. And they should be doing more. There's no question, whether it's in the US or whether it's in Europe or whether it's in India. So that is something that's key. But as people, you know, helping out other people, we have a responsibility. So the main thing is that we've got to be, you know, I don't want to tell people in India to keep washing your hands because look, water shortage is there. So what are you going to do? You know, and I can't tell people to social distance because people are living together in small places. So what social distancing can people really do? But the main thing I would have to say is the mask. You know, if we wear the mask going outside is key. And if you don't have to go out right now, I know they've opened it up and they've said, you know, to go out and, you know, you can go out and get things, but really sort of in the next 3 months is still going to be critical for us to stay inside, you know, and really just stay away from people. I know we don't want to because we want to be around people, but it's really critical that we stay away and social distance outside, you know, and not socialize.
Great. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for connecting with us. Nandri, bye-bye. Be safe.
Bye. Take care. You too. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.
Bye. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு லைவ் இன் யோர் லிவிங் ரூம் சீரீஸ்ல ஆக்ட்ரஸ் பூஜா குமார் கிட்ட நிறைய விஷயங்கள் பேசணும். ஸோ இது ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கான கான்வர்சேஷனா இருந்திருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இதே மாதிரி நிறைய இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கான செலிபிரிட்டிஸ் உங்க பிஹைண்ட் நியூஸ் அஃபிஷியல் பேஜ்ல இந்த லைவ் இன் யோர் லிவிங் ரூம் சீரீஸ்ல வர போறாங்க. ஸோ அதெல்லாமே நீங்க பார்த்து ரசிக்கலாம். தேங்க்யூ ஸோ மச். ஸ்டே கனெக்டட்.